Welcome everyone to our podcast. Dive into a fascinating geopolitical analysis on why China is outperforming the US on the world stage.
I'm excited to be here discussing this deep dive. So, what stands out to you as the key reason China is pulling ahead?
Well, one of the main points is that China leverages a unique combination of state-driven pragmatism and robust global supply chains.
Yeah.
It's like it's like they've built an entire ecosystem that supports rapid industrial growth and technological advancement without the usual bureaucratic, slowdown.
I get that. And their strategy seems to be very different compared to the US traditional free market approaches, right?
Exactly. Yep. While the US often relies on a more free-flowing market dynamic, China uses long-term planning and targeted state support
hmm
to tackle bottlenecks. They preemptively address potential obstacles in supply chains and innovation directions,
That's interesting. Sort of a managed economy directly influencing performance on the global stage.
right? And another point raised is about China's emphasis on infrastructure investments, which has boosted their connectivity
Yeah,
globally and
absolutely.
domestically. Those massive projects like rail networks and ports really facilitate trade and industry.
And would you say that their approach to these long term investments is what sets them apart from the US?
I would say so. It's kind of like they treat these investments almost like military grade strategies, ensuring every piece of infrastructure has like a dual impact on economic and geopolitical influence. It's a
Right.
different mindset, a future shaping approach rather than just reactive spending.
So their foresight seems to really pay off, huh?
Exactly. Though it's not just about economic strategy, you can see elements of soft power there too. The narrative created is that China is building consensus on
hmm
global platforms. They're not just making products, they're crafting relationships and alliances that further solidify their global dominance.
Right, like leveraging global alliances and even cultural diplomacy. But I wonder, doesn't the US still have significant influence in these areas?
That's a good point, and honestly, the US retains a lot. However, the critique often is that the US sometimes struggles with domestic polarization, which spills over into inconsistent foreign policy. In
Yeah.
contrast, China's approach is more streamlined, even if it's authoritative.
So you're saying that while the US has extensive soft power, the internal divisions might blunt its global strategic implementation?
Exactly, that's a fair observation. But I would challenge that a bit. While internal divisions do matter, the US innovation engine is still unrivaled.
Sure.
Yet, when it comes to coordinated long term infrastructure and industrial policy, China seems one step ahead.
I see, so it's a bit of a trade off. The US thrives on individual innovation and dynamic markets, while China banks on coordinated state led initiatives.
Precisely. And don't forget about their approach to supply chains. China has managed to create a very efficient kind of locked in network where they control critical nodes, which minimizes disruptions.
Right.
It's like having a fleet of well oiled machines all geared towards extraordinary productivity.
That makes a lot of sense. And the video also touches on, if I recall correctly, global perceptions. How other nations see China's pragmatic, aggressive advance, right?
Yes, indeed. Another theme is the shift in global opinion and how China's strategic patience and gradual yet relentless push for influence is reshaping international
hmm
relations. There's this buildup of what some call China's soft and hard power integration.
And what about the role of technology in all this? Is that covered as well?
Absolutely, tech is a huge factor. China's investments in cutting edge industries like AI, 5G, and quantum computing are not just about economic gains. They fortify their geopolitical stance too.
Yeah.
It's like they're securing the future by being at the forefront of the next tech revolution.
So while the US has strong tech companies, China's state backed model accelerates deployment and integration across society.
Exactly, it's a more centralized push. Though I'll admit that model isn't without its challenges. Some critics argue it can hinder creativity and lead to inefficiencies
True.
in the long run. Yet, in terms of scale and rapid results, it really seems to be working for them, at least as of now.
And don't forget the impact on global supply chains. China's grip on manufacturing has um, ensured they have a resilient structure against global economic shocks.
Absolutely, it's almost like a fortress when it comes to production capabilities.
Yeah.
The video really points out that the strategic control over components of the supply chain, from raw materials to finished goods, gives them a robust edge over competitors.
That's fascinating. So, in a way, it's not just an economic win, but also a geopolitical maneuver.
Exactly, it's multifaceted. And there's also an interesting discussion about narrative management. China is very deliberate in crafting its global image, which helps it in negotiations and international engagements.
Hmm.
They often present a model of efficiency and unified purpose that appeals to many emerging nations.
Right. I mean, many countries see that as an attractive alternative to the sometimes chaotic nature of Western democracies.
Indeed, though I do have a small critique here. While this narrative is appealing for efficiency's sake, it sometimes glosses over serious issues like human rights or internal dissent. It's a nuanced
Yeah,
balance,
okay.
and the video hints at that complexity.
That's a valid challenge. It's important not to overlook those darker sides of centralized power, even if the economic performance is impressive.
Absolutely. That's where some analysts say even though China is outperforming the US economically, there are significant trade offs when it comes to democratic values and individual freedoms. So it becomes a debate
Rightly
about what
so.
kind of success we ultimately value.
That's such an interesting tension, economic might versus democratic principles. And it definitely fuels a lot of the global debate on this topic.
Yes, it does. And then there's the international relations perspective, the idea that as China wields more influence, the traditional US led global order is being redefined.
Yeah,
This multipolar world notion is really at the heart of the discussion.
for sure. And with leaders like Jeffrey Sachs and others weighing in, it's clear that this isn't just a theoretical scenario, but something that's unfolding in real time.
Right? And the video even hints at the possibility that the US may need to reevaluate its strategies, both domestically and internationally, to keep up with this shifting
Exactly.
dynamic. It's kind of a wake up call for policymakers.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder how long it might take for the US to pivot in response.
True, and here's where the discussion gets really intriguing. It's not just about catching up, it's about fundamentally rethinking old models of governance and
Right.
innovation. There's a tension between maintaining core values and adapting to a rapidly globalizing competitive environment.
And if we consider how entrenched some of those traditional models are in the US, that could pose a challenge.
Exactly. The inertia within established systems can be a major barrier. It's like trying to steer a large ship. Even when you know you need to change course, the momentum is hard to overcome. And on the
Yeah.
flip side, China's model, while perhaps less flexible in some ways, benefits from that centralized control.
It's a classic example of agility versus robustness, right?
Precisely. And while the centralized model is quite effective in certain contexts, some argue it could stifle innovation over time if voices and creativity
Right,
aren't
true.
valued. That's the nuance we really need to keep in mind.
So, in the big picture, we're looking at a paradigm shift where both models have their strengths and vulnerabilities.
Yeah, exactly. It's like comparing two different engines. One is built for speed and rapid bursts of success, while the other is designed for sustained power and long term control.
Hmm.
And the global stage is where these engines are competing for dominance.
And that competition is fundamentally reshaping global alliances, trade routes, and the very notion of power in international relations.
Right? And that's what makes it so compelling. As nations recalibrate their strategies, the balance between economic might and ideological influence is getting rewritten in real time. It's a fascinating, albeit
Exactly.
complex evolution to watch.
Definitely, and it leaves us with a lot to consider about the future. What will the world look like as these trends continue?
Absolutely. And keeping an eye on these trends is critical for understanding both domestic policies and international negotiations
Mm-hmm.
moving forward. The discussion has layers from econometrics to human rights and even the technology frontier, which all interplay in this global puzzle.
It certainly is a layered topic, and as always, there's so much more than meets the eye.
Yep, well, our conversation today just scratches the surface, but it's clear that the real reason China appears to be outperforming the US on many fronts is due to a computed synergy of state coordination, vast infrastructure, and strategic supply chain dominance.
Mm-hmm,
And that's
absolutely.
something world leaders and experts are paying close attention to.
Without a doubt. Thanks for this deep dive today. It really helps in making sense of these global power shifts.
My pleasure. Until next time, let's keep questioning and exploring these pivotal changes in our world.